Hey guys, this is Locke. This is my review of the new Glaciela Regalia. Yes. Um, in a nutshell, I think she's a very powerful attacker. However, I am still a little bit unimpressed overall for a 100 cost unit. Still, I mean, I think she does her job well. That her job is, like being a powerful attacker that does a lot of damage. But I will explain the reasons why I am not so impressed. But anyway, let's start off. I think the something very interesting about her master ability is her activation time down by 200. This will stack with two of her passives that she also has that reduces activation time. So how it works is basically once your skill goes to 1000, one of your cast time skill goes off. So sometimes a skill has a cast time of 200, so it'll take 5 ticks to go off. So with this mastery, it only takes 4 ticks, and then with the other abilities that she has, it can reduce it to like maybe 2-3 turns, something like that. So it's a pretty good mastery, especially for a spellcaster that has cast time associated with it. I think it's a pretty good mastery for her. Regarding her TMR, I think it's pretty good as well. However, because the magic resistance penetration is only 20 and it's only for self, Garvel's TMR is, I think, just better. If this was like an AoE magic penetration, I think it might have uses where it's better, but I think most cases Garvel's TMR is just going to be better on anyone that you want to use magic resist penetration on. Um, yeah, I mean it's okay. I mean if you don't have Garvel, this is pretty good, especially because if you have a magic based team, it increases magic attack for everybody. But still, it's not top tier in my opinion for that reason. Um, Moving on to stats. Uh, so here is one point that I am unimpressed. If you look at her resistances, if you look at, for example, Duane, Black Rosalina, and King Mont, all three of them have 50% stop resist. Stop is if you get stopped, most of the time the game is over, right? It's even worse than, for example, Berserk. So all of them have stop resistance, but uh, Glaciela doesn't, which kind of sucks. And stop and disable are both very common, and she has neither of those. Um, Black Rose Helena also has charm resistance as well, so it's I don't know. Like that is something that I would be very careful if I'm running her, just because she will be at 97 faith. I will want her to land damage, and for magic based characters you want to have them 97 faith, but she doesn't have the good status elements, especially for a 100 cost unit, because most of them, except for I think like Tancred, has pretty good status elemental resistance. So that's something you have to watch out for if you are planning to use her. um I think her agility is pretty good, her magic attack is pretty high, her HP is okay for a caster. Everything else is okay. um she has a weakness to pierce and strike, but both of those damage types are not very common. Um, so I mean, it's okay. Everything else is pretty okay. It's just that status element, I think, is it's not good. Let's just say that. So that's my first point of why I don't like her for that reason. For the elemental, sorry, the status resistances, it's bad in my opinion. Now let's move on to her skills. Um, so if you look at her upgraded arcane assault mastery, it gives her spirit penetration of 40%. One of her skills also increases spirit penetration by 50%. It is, where is it now? Here it is, the grand explosion skill. So 50%. So in total, she'll have 90% spirit penetration. So this is good against enemies that have very high spirit. In the early days, I would fight Agrius as while playing as Rain, and Rain has a natural advantage against Agrius, but Agrius just stacks so much spirit that it was very hard to do damage even with Rain. So this Glaciela will not be having any problems because she has very high spirit penetration. And if you use her own TMR on her, she will have a little bit of magic penetration as well. Um, so if you use both, if you make sure that you use her TMR or some other way of uh, uh, cutting through magic resistance, and then you also use this passive and this skill, then for sure she will be dealing damage, even if the opponent has high magic resistance and high spirit. Um, so these are the two skills that I talked about before: the Arcane Assault Mastery and the Knowledge Reserves, which both decrease her skill activation time. So this makes any of the skills, and she has a ton of them that have cast times. Like for example, Grand Explosion, Bestirring Baton, Regal Tranquility. All of these have cast times. Even her White Mage jobs as well. Like all the Cures, Curagas, Shell, Protect, everything has a cast time associated with it. So these masteries, sorry, these passives that decrease the activation time, I think is pretty good on her. Something else that you might also want to think of putting is the Scholarly Intuition, because it gives you 12 defense and 20 accuracy. She has a natural defense of 8, so that'll put her up to 20 defense. So it's something. If you put some other armor on her, which gives you 20 more, she can get up to 40 defense, which is decent. So you can choose which of the passives you want to go, but there are a couple of these good ones. I think the first skill that she has is the most interesting one, the Bestirring Baton, because it has a 25% chance to inflict Berserk. In auto battle, she will not be using it often because she'll probably use the skills that do more damage, and this only has a modifier of 141%, whereas some of the others has up to 200 or 220%. If you want to turn off all the other skills, I would not recommend that, because you would rather kill an enemy than leave them berserked. So it'll probably be a bit difficult to use this on auto. In manual, yeah, it might come in handy, but it is only 2 range. So I like the skill. Like, I like a skill having a chance to cast Berserk. However, it just seems like the times that you could probably use this is not very high. She also is a move 3 jump 1 unit, so and she is pretty squishy. Like, she will not survive too much damage. So getting her in range to cast the skill is probably you're probably gonna have a little bit of difficulty with that. Now, Rally Magic is nice. If you're using her TMR on her, she's already increasing the magic of allies. Now with this skill, she will also increase the magic attack. So if you're running a caster team, she will definitely make all your allies do a lot of magic damage. So it's very good for that. I already talked about the Spirit Penetration skill. This Wounding, well, I should look at the next one. Rending Fangs, that's the upgraded one. It's very nice because it does an additional 60% modifier damage, which is like almost like two different cards. Like, you can put a trousseau and something else card to increase the modifier by 60. So I think it's pretty significant, and you do quite often come across opponents that are using the auto restore, which is keys as spells, or haste. You can also use this with King Mont, so you can use her and King Mont together. King Mont can go and berserk the opponents, and then you can have her using the Rending Fang skill to deal extra damage. The other two skills are okay. I find Regal Tranquility is nice because it has a range of 6 and a height range of 2. I like these range height 2 skills, and most skills have a range of 5. So this having a range of 6 is quite nice as well, because it'll give you more opportunities to land a hit before enemies can attack you. So this is a nice skill to have. I think what would set her apart, like, make her really, really good, is if she had full life on her White Mage sub job. Unfortunately, she does not. So, that's too bad, because I think that would have just made her, like, phenomenal. She's a good unit, but, like, I think, Black Rose Helena, King Mont, Duane, these are all, like, 100 cost units that are phenomenal. And I think if she had full life on her White Mage, I think she would have been on the same tier. But now I think because she doesn't, and for the reasons that I'm going to talk about, I think she's 1 tier below. Now, I'm going to start by talking about her from a PvE sense. When it comes to, like, raids, or if it comes to the trials that we have right now. So she is able to penetrate spirit, which is nice. But she doesn't have any way of increasing, like, she doesn't she doesn't decrease spirit, which is better than spirit penetration. If she had something like decrease 40 spirit or decrease 50 spirit, that would have been way better because if an opponent has 0 spirit, it still does like 50% more damage, like extra damage, if you decrease spirit than if you just penetrate spirit. Because spirit penetration, if they only have like say 20 spirit, I mean, sure, you ignore 18% of that, but it's better to just decrease it. And if you compare her with Black Rose Helena, who's also a 100 cost unit, she is able to decrease dark, right, which is insane. And then she's also able to remove barriers and shields. And Glaciela is not able to do that. So I mean, if you run Black Rose Helena on a dark team, she can use her LB to decrease dark, and then everyone in your team will just do a lot more damage. So Glaciela doesn't have anything like that. She doesn't have any way of reducing, say, fire resistance or magic resistance or spirit. She can only increase the spirit penetration of herself. So, because both of them are 100 cost units, this is why, in my opinion, she's not the same tier as Black Rose Helena, and just strictly speaking for PvE, because she doesn't increase the damage of everybody on the team. Now for auto battles, as I said, she can get up to like maybe 40 defense or something, but I think she's still like she'll probably still not be able to survive too many hits unless you put on a like Black Rose Helena's TMR on her, because then she might have a shield and she can survive a little bit better. But then if you have Black Rose Helena's TMR, you already have Black Rose Helena, and why wouldn't you just use Black Rose Helena instead? Because she can like she has 3 different ways of getting through enemies' resistances, while Glaciela only has 1. She only has spirit penetration. Black Rose Helena has magic resist penetration, and spirit penetration, and dark resist penetration, and she also can break barriers. So like she will do a lot of damage. She has the setup, the capability of doing a lot of damage, but I think it still pales in comparison to Black Rose Helena. Maybe Black Rose Helena is just too OP. I mean, I think everyone can agree with that, but that's why I have to compare it to, right? They're both 100 cost units. What else? It's nice that she has healing in her capability as well. I'm assuming. I haven't played her, and she just came out, but I'm going to assume that she's going to focus on damage, and healing is going to be secondary if you have her White Mage sub. So it'll be nice in Guild Wars if she's able to survive the first round, or if her allies survive the first round and she's not doing damage, she'll probably cast healing spells on the allies. So I think that's good. And then Protect Shell is also nice, especially in like manual PvP. In auto PvP, you're probably going to turn it off. But in manual PvP, it's nice that she has these that she can cast on herself or allies to increase their survivability. For manual, however, she is lacking the. For me personally, I like to have for manual PvP units that have move 4, jump 2. For auto, it's not as important because units will generally just move towards the enemy, and it's kind of a coin toss who attacks first, but that's usually what it comes out down to. For manual, you want to have a lot of range. She has the a range 6 skill, which is good, but the move 3, jump 1. It's a little too bad, If she had at least move 4 or jump 2, again, I think that would just put her a tier above. But the combination of all these things, right? Like move 3, jump 1, and then she doesn't have, besides the spirit penetration, she doesn't have anything above Black Rose Helena. Like she doesn't do anything else. Well, she does do one thing, I guess. She has the capability of doing strike damage if you put her on Scholar sub. With, where is it now? This one, the Law of Pure Absorption. So she can use this skill, and she can do strike damage. So if your opponent's weakening at strike, she can use that, and she will absorb some of the damage done. Oh, and then she has the Law of Speed Reading. So if you stack this with the other stuff, so she will be down to, I think, 200 cast time. But you have to put her on the Scholar sub to do that. And then she will be able to cast her spells in one turn, because most of these skills have like a cast time of I think 360 or 200. Oops, how do I'm trying to click on. Okay, okay, it's usually 200 cast speed, so you can cast it within a turn. So you don't have to wait for too long, but you have to go with the scholar sub if you want to do that, and you have to have the law of speed reading enabled. So she can't use her healing skills, and you might have to turn off some other skills like rally magic or her TMR to make sure that she activates the law of speed reading. Um, yeah, and then her limit burst is nice as well because if you are playing against other units like Frederica or Cloud, this will reduce your counter chance to 0%. So they will not proc the reflex, and you have a high chance to one shot them. Especially Frederica. Frederica dies very easily. I think Cloud is also weak to magic as well, so she has the potential to one shot him with the right build. Some other positives for her: she does go very well with King Mont because they're both fire and they both have the mastery ability to buff each other. You can put some vision cards that support both. King Mont has some nice like fire vision cards that you can take advantage of, because if you put her on him, she will get the side benefits of it as we can build a fire team around both of them. You can also build her with Black Rose Helena as well. You don't have to just pick one or the other, but I'm doing this review as comparing both of them against each other. But if you put both of them on the same team, they will do nicely against each other, because you can use Glaciela to increase Black Rose Helena's damage even more, because using her TMR and using her skill, she'll be able to increase her damage even more if you need to one shot something. So that is an option as well. Let me just check if this one. No, this is for. Yeah, this is for self. I was wondering if it's for allies, but it's only for self. So I mean, that's the reason why I'm not impressed. There are a couple points. The first one I mentioned was the status effects. I think are not what I would expect for a 100 cost unit. I mean, Tankard is an exception. He is like really really lackluster for a 100 cost unit. But other than that, I mean, all the others I think have like pretty good status resistances, whereas Glaciela only gets confuse and stun. I mean, stun is becoming more and more popular, but stun is not as game breaking as disable or stop or charm. So, and confusion is nice too. There are quite a few units now that are coming out of confusion, so it's nice. But again, like I would prefer charm instead of confusion, right? Or disable or stop. So that's too bad. And then the other thing is, again, like for manual, she has move 3, jump 1, so I feel like it's a bit more difficult to use her. And then again, for manual, I prefer, instant cast spells. So Arithmeticians, I think, are better. But she will have at least, I think, one turn, because you can only reduce, if you are using her on Scholar sub and you take both of the passives that decrease the skill activation, you can bring her down to 200 cast speed. So she has one turn of cast, but it's still one turn. And sometimes enemies will just kill you while you're casting. So I prefer to have units that can do instant cast damage. So again, that's a slight negative point. She has White Mage, which is good, she has healing, but she doesn't have full life. So again, another like slight negative point. It's just too bad that she doesn't have full life, because I think that would have made her like really, really good. I think it would have probably put her on par with Black Rose Helena, because she has something very unique. It's not just dealing damage; she can also full life a unit, which is a great extra that Black Rose Helena can't do. But she doesn't have full life; she only has raise. And raise is not what is it called? Like raise is the chance of raise is not enough, and it doesn't heal very well. It only restores a little bit of HP. That I don't rely on raise. Let's just say that. She has things that are good for manual, like Asuna and Shell and Protect, but because of the it'll probably be difficult to get her to survive to get into range to do damage in manual. So it's positives and negatives. And then for PvE, I mentioned already, like she doesn't have ways of uh, making her allies do more damage. Like she can increase their damage outright, but she doesn't have like spirit down or magic resistance down or fire down or something, which would have been way better than just increasing the attack, because that's just how the calculation works. So anyway, that's my review for Glaciela. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you have other questions or comments, please leave me a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.